Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Capricorn for November 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see the wealth of free resources I have for you there. Also, if you are interested in having a personal reading with me, I'm off of sabbatical. I had a very long sabbatical from taking on new clients, so you can book a reading with me live now at anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on this month of November? We have a wonderful, wonderful month where the ratio of sweet aspects is way higher than the challenging ones to watch. It is a very rare month indeed when we have way more sweet connections than we do challenging ones. Very often, and in recent times, when we've had a lot of sweet aspects, even really big major ones like those trines and the sextiles that we just came through, the outer planet ones, coupled with that were also these like the whole way. But we've got long patches, including some of the luckiest days of the year this month in November. So that's exciting. We're still navigating around Venus retrograde. We may or may not be seeing clearly in love and money. Also, the other side of that could be financial things could be coming in for us. If they're not coming in and flowing, then the issues that are showing us the blocks to that movement would come up for us to deal with. So either the issues or the resolutions or the fruit is coming in those arenas. But I definitely recommend that you watch my October report because I talk about where Venus is retrograde for you, for your sign, for Caps, and the early, middle, and late degree placements where Venus is retrograde. So that will be in effect still through November. And I'm not going to go into that now. So you can get that piece by going back to the October report. And also definitely look at my Venus retrograde resources because I'm not going to barely talk about Venus retrograde at all. But it is in effect through the 15th, and then the post-shadow period stretches on until mid-December. So you definitely want to know about the do's and don'ts. So if you search for Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, you'll find my very comprehensive blog and my very comprehensive video, which will fully ramp you up to make the most of these energies that rule so many areas of our lives with love and finances and money and self-esteem. But that caution about doing cosmetic things to your physical body is still in effect until well into the end of December. If you have a medical and a time-sensitive thing, don't worry about it. That's not cosmetic. So, I get that question a lot. This rules like things you do to your body to look a certain way. I'm going to try to avoid those during Venus retrograde. Okay, so I have something special planned for you. This is my 6th year anniversary doing monthly YouTube horoscopes, and Jupiter is moving into Sagittarius, which I'm very excited about. I'm a Sag, but it's wonderful for everybody because Jupiter going into its own sign is benevolent for everybody. So all of these years I've been telling you about the difference between the early, middle, and late degree placements. And I am in this video going to go into where Jupiter is going to move for early, middle, and late degree Cap placements and what that can bring and what to look out for and how you can use it. But first, I'm going to show you a visual of why it's different. I'm going to show you the early, middle, and late degree charts. So you'll have the visual. There are so many aha moments wrapped up into this that I hope that you watch it. Now, if you decide you don't want to and you want to fast forward through the part where you see the chart on the screen and get back to me on the screen where I'm going to tell you about what you can expect with Jupiter here for now and the time to come, you have my blessing to do that, but it's with the caution that you'll be missing some things really great, okay? Because it's very rare that you get a chance to see this. And it can bring a lot of understanding home for you. Okay, so I'm going to show you the charts now. Okay, so what my main objective is for showing you these charts, and then immediately after that, I'm going to go back to the regular video and explain the energies for the month that I want to share, is to explain and show you visually why I talk about the difference between early, middle, and late degree placements, okay? And how it makes a difference in the chart and how it makes a difference in how your energy is being influenced. So the sign is divided by 30 degrees, or is 30 degrees long. Okay, so there's the orbit of the sky, the cycle here that the planets move around is 360 degrees. There are 12 signs, so 30 degrees for each sign. 30 times 12 is 360. In any given sign, there's 30 degrees that runs from 0 degrees up to 29 degrees. Okay, so when you're born with the sun at a certain degree, or you can count however many days into the sign. So 0 to 9 degrees is the early degree placement. So I have a 4-degree chart here because that's right in the middle for the early degree placements. Okay, so that's early. Then middle degree is 10 to 19 degrees. So I have 14 there. Okay, that's middle. Then late is 20 to 29 degrees. So then I have 24 here because that's right in the middle. Okay. So notice some things, and specifically Jupiter. Okay, that's what we're talking about. So Jupiter is imminently moving into the 12th house for Capricorn. Early degree placements, right? But if you look over in the middle degree, look at where Jupiter is. See how it's to the right? You notice how everything in this chart, these charts are shifted. All the planets are shifted to the right. So Jupiter is set back. Why? Because this dial, this rising sign viewpoint that we have is like a dial. So, you click, 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 turn it to have the picture that is true for your degree, whether it's your sun, your rising, your moon, that degree goes there to set your personal chart. That's hard to talk about in a general horoscope. That's why people don't do it. That's one of the reasons people don't do it. But the other reason is they don't know that this is going on. A lot of people have no idea about this. So check out Jupiter for the late degree placement. Okay, late is here. Look at Jupiter here. So notice over here for the early, Jupiter's been in the 11th. It's going to the 12th. Okay, middle degree has been in the 11th. But look, it has further to go. It's going to be staggered. It's not going to quite be kicking it up in the 12th house yet. It'll be a few more months before that starts to get really strong. You may feel hints of it, but it's not quite there yet. Look at the late degree. All the while that Jupiter's been in this 11th and for early and middle, it's been in the 10th for you late degree placements. So now it's getting ready to go into the 11th. Some of you late degree placements have been having it dance here already, like you earlier, like, the 20 to 24, a little bit before then. It's been dancing in there. But see what it's going into the 11th house. It's not going into the 12th house as it is for the other ones. That's why I take the time. So just in general, really quick, I want to make sure this point is across, and then we will get back to the regular report. All right, so Saturn is the big thing for CAPS now because Saturn is moving through your sign. So when I've talked before saying if you're in the early degree placements, you're getting crushed like a bug in some cases, or in other cases you're having awesome stuff come to fruition, and in some cases it's both at the same time. Check out here. Here's Saturn. So if you have between, this year it's been moving between 0 and 9 degrees. So it's been dancing there for you, either on your rising sign or your sun sign or your moon sign, whatever you're watching for. But if you have a middle degree placement, like in this chart, check it out. Saturn's not near that line yet. And that line also represents, whether it's your sun or moon, that degree placement. So if you're in those middle degree placements, Saturn hasn't been crossing over your points. And hey, you late degree people, look at Saturn. It's not even near there. It has a ways to go. So you're going to have a while before Saturn exactly crosses over. Now you'll feel some of the general energies of Saturn in Cap, like everybody else is, but unless you have any earlier degree Cap placements in your chart different than the one you're watching for, Saturn's not crossing over those places yet. So now you can see why I take the time to do this, how the difference is. Just notice how many things are staggered in the chart. When you see the sun here in the 10th house for early, look at it. It's just in the late degree over here. It's about to go into the 11th for early, but in the late, it's just kind of cooking in the 10th house. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you. So let's get back to how Jupiter is going to affect you as it moves into the places for each of you. Wasn't that exciting? So exciting. Okay, so now that you know why Jupiter is in a different place depending on where your Cap placement is, let's talk about what the implications are. So for your early degree placements, Capricorn is moving into the 12th house quite readily, quite now. You middle degree placements, this will be staggered, early, middle, couple of months. Later middle, a few more months, late degree placements, you might start to see this hinting like in April, but then it will backtrack and go backwards and then not really come back into full effect until later in 2019 for you. So this information that I'm about to share is going to be relevant for all of you, just at different periods of time. After I talk about the 12th house, I'll go to talk about the 11th house, because that's where the middle and later degree placements still have this energy. So Jupiter moving through the 12th house expands your potentials intuitively, psychically, spiritually, on all levels. The 12th house is one of the houses of the unseen worlds. Intuition, metaphysical studies, connections, communications with angels, guides, I call them the whatnots, fairies, archangels, animals, the esoteric realms that are less obvious. These to me are very practical and reasonable to talk about. So, I know there are people that think, oh, well, fairies aren't real and all this. And, I don't agree with that. But the point is, there is so much more to this world and to our experience than we know. And we know this from the discoveries that we're making constantly. All the time, we're discovering something that was there the whole time, but we weren't able to perceive it. So there are so many things waiting to be discovered that people who can tune into these extrasensory perceptions and these lesser seen worlds, they're seeing them now. Things that we knew about our electromagnetic field, how it does exist, the aura does exist, can be scientifically measured now. So there are so many things out there that people can connect with, and this transit can expand your connection to those things, including people who have, like, beyond the grave, connecting with people who've crossed over, connecting with people who are crossing over, facilitating people crossing over, having people show up, relatives of yours or other people showing up with messages. I've seen a lot of that with Jupiter in the 12th house. I have Jupiter in the 12th house natally, so this stuff that you're having this transit with is something that I'm working with extra all the time, because it's on my chart always. So dream work, conscious dream work, dream journaling, lucid dreaming, anything where the subconscious, unconscious space is brought in closer connection with the conscious space. Utilizing those times, the tween hours, right when you're going to sleep and right when you wake up, can also accentuate this work. So past life regression, hypnosis, subliminal recordings, affirmations, divination tools and processes can all be expanded now. And any deep work, psychotherapy or anything like that you do now, you can go further with it because you have this expansion energy. The energy of synchronicities are more likely to become your norm, especially if you pay attention to them and mark their progress. Like, what? This just happened and this is so crazy, and just acknowledging it. So meaningful interactions with others that have a spiritual basis are also more likely to come into full effect. This can be, and for many people will be and should be, a time of rest and renewal on some levels, claiming your quiet time, claiming your personal space, beautifying a meditation space or your home or whatever is your sacred space, and claiming it. Retreat, sabbatical, asking deep questions can make this inner world, this period of time, this transit can make the inner world feel more real than sometimes the other worlds even. So the 12th house also rules fears. Sometimes at this point, deep fears come out. I always call this the Harry Potter energy. It's like he sees all these things outside of him and they look really scary. And we see them and they look really scary too. We're like, gosh, this doesn't look good for Harry, right? But he comes to figure out that everything outside of him is from inside of him. So the demons out there are really inside. And when you work with them in that space, you can heal them and conquer them, slay your own demons. So this is a very big time for addictions and fears to come up, to come into the forefront. But it's also given at the same time the solutions. Jupiter is notorious for solutions, so it can amplify the problems, but it can also simultaneously bring solutions. So if you're seeking solutions for those things, they're very present. So this place of, connectivity to all things is very prevalent in all ways. Okay, so now the 11th house, which is where everybody else besides the early placements are still working with this energy. This house rules big dreams. So not the ones that you have at night, that's the 12th house, as we just talked about that, but the ones that you have in life, big dreams in life. And so when you have Jupiter in that space, it's expanding them. Having trouble with my pillow today, goodness. So those dreams, like the big ones in life, get an extra boost when Jupiter is moving through this space. So the recommendation in general for Jupiter is to go big, because even if you fall short, you'll still get so much further than you would have if you didn't go big. And you can definitely have a lot of support to lay groundwork for your dreams and to also have manifestations occur. So the 11th house also rules friends, friendships, social circles, social media. So expansion in any of these arenas is very likely, and having more meaning, like feeling yourself as part of a group, part of something bigger than yourself, is also more likely. Again, with the planting seeds, so networking efforts during this time can manifest in wonderful ways, even more wonderful ways, over an extended period of time. So it's very cute that I just got a text from someone that's illustrating this point. Okay, so the point about Jupiter with planting seeds is that it wants you to go wide. So if you scatter a bunch of seeds all around and they don't manifest yet during the time that Jupiter is in that placement, there are 12 years that those things can pop up at any time. So a friend just texted me, and they were staying at another friend of ours' house where I was in their cottage for some time, and I had an extensive garden. And in the garden, I had planted all of these hollyhock seeds. Hollyhocks are beautiful fairy flowers. They're super tall, brilliantly colored, just amazing. And they didn't grow, some of them did grow, but a lot of them didn't grow. And you never know with seeds when they're going to manifest, So she just told me now, years later, that these hollyhocks are growing. And this is the point about Jupiter, this is many years ago. And the hollyhocks are growing now. So the more you plant seeds as it relates to friends, friendships, acquaintances, networking, your big dreams, social circles, anything, humanitarian efforts, working with teams and organizations, you have a long period of time for these things to pop up. And things can also manifest now. So communities, whether they're online or doing something community-based, is very well supported during this time. Leaning on friends, being there for them, having major enrichment, major growth and healing occurring in the area of friendships, having more friends, having more social energy. Also, anything new age or metaphysical can expand beautifully. And things involving technology, like even patents, futuristic things, all of that is expanded during this time. As is internet presence. If you are finding that you need to have more internet presence to link to things you're doing as a passion or for your work or both, then this transit can really help support your increasing your presence out globally through the internet. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Capricorn. Now I want to talk about those sweet days, so many of them. I'm going to go into the days, what the transits are on the days, lots of details, also those ones to watch, and a couple of other things about some of the general transits that are occurring now. So my theme of the month of November 2018 for all signs is defiant optimism and relentless hope. And I'm getting this from the energy of Jupiter in Sagittarius. We've just talked at length about how Jupiter in each of the houses of your individual sign can bring that energy of Jupiter into certain areas of your life. But the general experience for everybody that everyone has access to has to do with this increased energy of sparkling luck, defiant optimism, relentless hope, unprecedented growth, glorious expansion, because Jupiter is so happy to be in its own sign, and this only happens for 1 year every 12 years. So it's a very big deal. You can think back to what was going on 12 years ago and the kinds of themes and things that showed up, and you can see how it may relate to this current transit. Of course, there are different factors at play now than there were then as well. It's always more complicated. And of course, not every person is going to experience the energy of defiant optimism and relentless hope. We shade how we see things with how we are and what our outlook is, or what we have going on in our lives, or whatever our more personal chart has going on that we may not be able to see in the general horoscope. So we see things sometimes as we are or as influences are around us, not always how they really are, right? That's reality is subjective. But in any case, this energy of teaching, learning, speaking, writing, publishing, religious, spiritual work, international travel, international business, global connections, different countries, different cultures, different languages, general expansion, general happiness, general freedom is this theme that's running through for the next year, from the end of 2018 through the end of 2019. So Jupiter is the natural ruler of Sagittarius in the 9th house. It's most happy here and exuberant. We can see this energy of one's perceptions or beliefs being broadened. Many people will have learning frenzies where they feel so driven to learn more, and the things that they're learning may be more diverse in nature. Maybe they'll go headlong into one course of study, or maybe it's a general course of study under which there are lots of little pieces. Jupiter likes to get its fingers in a lot of pudding pies. So Jupiter favors breadth, sometimes even over depth. You know, it's the more seeds you plant now during this time, the more plants can grow from the seeds that you've planted over the next 12 years. So zealotry with a belief system or studies can definitely happen because Jupiter is the energy of excess. So we'll see this extra oomph being added to however Jupiter is manifesting. So the energy of legal matters can also come through in a very big way. One of the rulers of the legal realm is Sagittarius and the 9th house. So sometimes there's an amplification of a problem that's already brought to the law. Sometimes, you know, this escalation brings it, but it will very likely be in the forefront over the next year. So we still have Venus retrograde until the middle of the month, and so we're not going to be seeing clearly in love, beauty, and money in many regards. However, Venus retrograde can also bring in things that we planned to do for a long time, things that we were hoping for, things that we were working towards can magically start to come in wonderful ways. If there are issues in love, self-esteem, or money or finances, sometimes those issues come back up to be dealt with. Sometimes things that we've dealt with in the past now come in as blessings in this time. So definitely check out my resources. I've done so much work for you on Venus retrograde, but I'm not going to get into that here because you can look at the October horoscope to see where Venus has been working in your sign. You can also look up Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, to find my blog, very comprehensive, and my video, very comprehensive, that tells you everything that you need to know about Venus retrograde and how to navigate the transits. We are also going to have Mercury going retrograde. So that is another factor here that has to be taken into consideration. On the 15th, we have the retreat of Mercury from 13 degrees of Sagittarius back to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So that rolls until around December 6th, and then the post-shadow period runs until around the 24th of December. So if you're trying to focus on Christmas shopping or whatever other holidays you celebrate, the later kind of last minute shoppers will probably benefit more here, because by the time you're getting into mid-December, a lot of the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde and post-shadow, post-transit shadow period will have passed. So you're better off doing it later, because there are a lot of factors involving money. But, you know, follow your flow. If you're feeling inspired, just do your thing. But you will notice, if you track making purchases when Mercury's in retrograde over time, that they tend to come in broken or the wrong size, or you don't like it, or the person doesn't like it. It increases the odds of communication about what people want and about what you're ordering. So the energy is more clear towards the middle of December. So, you know, the couple of weeks before the holiday times. So now, since we've found this amazing truth that there are more positive aspects this month than there are negative aspects, and there are a massive amount. This is a very rare month indeed. I want to touch on some of those beautiful aspects. First, I'm going to give you the dates that the positive aspects happen. And remember, when I give you the dates, that sometimes you feel the expression before or after that day. Don't cling too tightly to the actual day, because these there are orbs of energy around each transit that can manifest in the days before or after. So November 1st, these are the sweet days, or the sweet aspects. November 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 15th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 26th, and 27th. So within all of that, we also have some of the best, beautiful aspects of the year with Jupiter coming together with personal planets that can bring amazing luck, some of the luckiest days of the year. So we have those wrapped up into this, okay? So the likelihood of stress, challenges, and overstimulation or general awkwardness is more likely in the days around the 15th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, and 30th. So you notice a lot less here, a lot less. We start out November. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the main transits and what you can expect with them. But to get more details about this and a written version of it, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get a month ahead the written version of the transit so that you can plan around it, because I know many people, including myself, do that. So the first, we've got this amazing transit with Jupiter and Chiron in a trine. This is a major boost to ignite your superhero self. Anything that was a challenge in the past could come back to you in a wonderful way. Let's say you've had a problem, it's been ongoing, you've been working on it, or there's an area of life that you have to work harder in. This period of time could bring major blessings in those areas. We also have between the 5th and the 6th, the Sun and Neptune being in a beautiful aspect that can boost love and intimacy and tenderness and spiritual breakthroughs and creativity. On the 7th, we've got the new moon at 15 degrees of Scorpio. And this is time to make your new moon and wishes of anything Scorpio related. So anything having to do with debt, loans, borrowing money, loaning money, inheritances, intimacy, sex, power, esoteric studies, psychology, anything along the Scorpio lines. Between November 8th and 9th, we've got Jupiter entering Sagittarius. Yay! This is very exciting. Very, very happy in that place. We've talked at length about that. And then on the 9th, we also have Venus making a beautiful aspect with Mars, the female energies and male energies blending beautifully at this time. The draw to connect socially and romantically may be stronger now, and nice outcomes from that. Of course, still be aware that Venus is in retrograde, so you're not seeing clearly in love. And because of the closeness to Mercury being in retrograde, just keep it in mind as you're navigating through these relationship things. But either way, energy returning from the past rather than new endeavors are better supported, but just male and female energies coming together can really sizzle now. It's also great for charisma and creativity and overall sweetness. Okay, so then on November 11th, we've got the Sun in this beautiful aspect with Pluto. And this has to do with your determination and your drive and your purpose, which can feel extra strong right now. Even though Venus in retrograde doesn't work well to support major launches, this is a time that expansion of something already in process can be great. So if you're following a continuum, you have something that you've been doing and then you add to it, you enhance it. This is a period of time where things like that can do well, like edits or experimentation to work that's already in play, or betas, things like that. Maybe you might be able to get some information there. Okay, so the 15th, Mars and Uranus are in a beautiful aspect. And this has to do with exciting and positive change, can have to do with wild insights that could turn out to have major merit. The energy of Uranus is fleeting. So if anything is going on in this time and you have a really good idea, definitely write it down, because you think when you have the idea, there's no way I'll forget this idea, but Uranus energy tends to, it's not very stable. But you could do something more substantial with it in the future if you hold on to it. So write down your crazy ideas. November 15th, we've got Venus direct at 25 degrees of Libra. That post-shadow period ends December 18th. So we're moving out of the Venus retrograde cycle, but there's still like a hangover of it where you're still really feeling it. And the rules still apply to a lesser degree with each day you pass out of the transit. November 15th, also, Mercury goes retrograde at 13 degrees of Sag, back to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So Mercury can often bring back to us places, people, creative projects, ideas that were present before that can come back. You may find that you are very drawn to do work on publishing things. It's not the best time to launch them, but it is an amazing time to work with them in the backdrop, to do edits, to wrap up things in anticipation of this open window that's coming soon that we've been waiting for forever to push things out. I love the end of December and into January for pushing your publishing or other projects out. So this is a great time to tie up loose ends. November 19th, we've got one of those challenging aspects, Mars and Jupiter. So guard against injuries, especially now. You're more likely to get a cold, or your resistance may be down from overstimulation. This can also manifest as like wanting to expand, but then expansion or movement being blocked. But that should pass over a few days. Then on November 20th, we have another sweet aspect with the Sun and Chiron. So this can bring a wonderful chance for releasing heavy baggage. So Venus is making more of its movement direct. Maybe things that came up in that retrograde may be starting to shift now. And a notable physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing is very possible from this transit. Which brings us to November 22nd through the 23rd, the full moon at almost 1 degree of Gemini. It is squaring Mars and opposing Mercury and squaring Neptune and opposing Jupiter. So it's a pretty busy, maybe could be very stressful full moon, but there are positive aspects that can come from it. So fullness, completion, drama, fruition, coming to anything Gemini, you know, any travel things. You could have a trip come up or being followed through with. You could have something notable with your car. Be extra careful driving because Gemini rules transportation and walking and biking and skating and whatever else, flying. Okay, so Neptune moves direct at 13 degrees of Pisces on November 24th. So this can help the fantasies that we've been rolling around in move forward into tangible reality. November 25th and 26th and 27th, we have the Sun and Jupiter getting together in Sag, and then we have the Sun and Mercury getting together. And all of that's wrapped in with this Jupiterian energy. So good news, good luck, auspicious, random things, things expected, things that you planned. This is a beautiful time. So smile big with awesome expectation. Okay, so then we've got November 30th, we've got another little bump here with Venus opposing Uranus. That often brings jolts or surprises or arguments or stressors in love and money. So just breathe deep and know that usually the things that come up with these type of transits feel really upsetting at the time, but they tend to pass pretty quickly. Okay, so these are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits. And I hope that you definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my wealth of resources on my free blogs. Also, you can sign up for my free email newsletter and get updates as far as these newsletters that I send out with the month ahead written. Also, when I update my written horoscopes at cozybysweetstarlight.com. Cozybysweetstarlight.com, I have written horoscopes that often cover different information than I do in the videos. So you can see those, and when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you will know when I update the upcoming month, which of course everything is always ahead of time with me. Then if you're a traveler, go to astrologykisstravelbliss.com. That is my travel astrology website where I do monthly travel astrology reports if you're traveling, special transits to note for travelers. And if you want a reading, I am still open. I have been closed for a long time on sabbatical from taking on new clients, but if you'd like to have me look at your chart, go to anniehelpsyou.com and you can book a reading with me live. And if you're interested in tarot, definitely go to my husband's website, IamHelios, IamHelios.com, and check out his tarot course where you can learn tarot, and he also does readings. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.